Alafia powers ultimate. Aboru, Oboye, Obosheshe. Faith that all is well. You know, they asked me to speak about Egbe, and maybe I will. You know, I have some Egbe curriculums, so maybe I'll release those and we can speak about this fully. But they also asked me, you know, what's the first steps or what first steps, you know, should I take, this and that, this and that. And I just always want to remind people about self care. I always want people to remind people about their own spiritual journey. Like you have your own spiritual path. No one can tell you, okay? A true Babalao, a true Ayanifa, a true Godfather, a true Godmother, a true Tata, a true Yaya, whatever. They can only give you a diagnosis from the reading. If they are pressuring you or pressing you towards a certain initiation or a certain ceremony, then we have to keep this in mind that, you know, it could be something there. But if you was to ask me, where should I start, right? I would like to answer this question based off of a handful of different ceremonies. And just for the first question, we can start with Egbe. Okay? Because when we speak about Egbe, of course we're speaking about the spiritual community. We're speaking about a heavenly village, a heavenly community, a heavenly family. Okay? Some of us like to say it's the spirit tribe, right? This is your spirit gang, your spirit set, your spirit crew, your spirit clique, whatever you want to call it, right? This is your where your type of people come from. Why am I bringing up the Igbe first? Because Igbe will let you know and begin to express to you certain traits that you have and why you have them. Why you like this and why you don't like that. Okay? When we deal with Igbe, we must remember that these are spirits that is here designed, controlled, and made in a manifestation for you and your human experience to guide you, right? They're based off of trying to get you to understand loyalty over liability, right? Their loyalty to you is to make sure that you are going to be an asset to yourself and the people that surround you in the atmosphere. Okay? They are truly here to help you. We must remember that these spirits are deities that govern the spirit. These entities are responsible for social vibrations. And what I mean by social vibrations is they are responsible for the reactions, the responses, the way you are just calculated to act to certain things. Okay? They're also trying to, once again, as I say, the loyalty over the liabilities, right? So they're trying to get you to shake out your funk. They're trying to get you to wake up and live in your divine order, right? They're trying to get you to live in your divine path, your divine destiny, to be the person that you need to be. So once again, they're here to like shake you out your funk. They're here to move you forward. So I always let people know that the Igbe readings, the Igbe initiations, the Igbe ceremonies, like these are very important when we start talking about where do I start? Like this is something that's very key that you need, right? So I would say these are so-called self-care ceremonies and shit. So when we deal with Igbe, before we move on and to tie it into the ceremonies, is once again that they're going to teach you about your traits. So it's like I like to let people know about Igbe being like feedback, right? So to the prayers, to the meditation, you see the feedback from Igbe. whether you are, walking in the good path or the bad path, or the good fortune or the bad fortune, you see the feedback from Igbe. You learn the reasons why you are the way you are from Igbe. Ashe. That's why Igbe is so important. That's why I consider it a self-care ceremony. Ashe. Now, I always let people know, once again, that no one can tell you um the proper ritual or ceremony that you need as a spiritual being. Only you on your path can know, but only once you're educated on what is available to you from resources. Sure. So, the next one, and people was asking about is the Ori ceremony, right? The Ori ceremony is very important. The Ori ceremony is the destiny, right? It's the path. I always let people know that the Ori ceremony is finding out the reason you are here. The Igbe ceremony is finding out the reasons you are the way you are, right? So we have to understand that these two key components, these two initiations, these two rituals are imperative not to take place in or participate in or just get this level of work done. I always tell people about that they don't need full initiation, right? So before I jump ahead, you know, next after that you would start dealing with orisa. Okay. Now this is no specific order, but I'm saying which ones are important to have without being initiated into Ifa. What first steps should you most and being the most intelligent option? What should you go towards first? Whether it's based on price or expenses doesn't really matter because any true ceremony you're going to have to pay and when we start talking about these ones, these aren't exactly cheap ceremonies, so we have to keep that in mind. But once again, next will be the orisa, right? You find out which one owns your head, which guardian angel, right? You find out which orisa, which child are you, to which frequency, which deity, which one is really governed over, this experience that you're having as a human. And this is very, very important as far as the self care, finding out who you are. Okay, this is a very, very key component. And then after these three was considered or obtained or participated in, I would then consider Sifa, right? And this is what I mean by people don't need full initiation as a Babalao. I advocate for people to lean and hone into Ifa. I advocate for people to learn and love Ifa. I advocate for people to live their life on a moralistic and ethic principle code that Ifa has to teach us. And, I just advocated so much that I, will always make it available not only to this internet world, but to my children at home. So I advocate for Ifa. So I always want people to understand, don't get me wrong when we say full initiation is not for everyone. You might not need full initiation. Okay. And the reasons why I say this is based off of these ceremonies. So the next you have is Isifa, right? This is going to be able to prime you with the culture and the knowledge of Ifa. This is going to educate you on how to read for yourself, how to divine for yourself, how to check the radar, check the frequencies in the cosmos for yourself, how to build that relationship and that conversation and that communication with Ifa and Orumila yourself. Okay? And I always tell people you won't have to come to Baba for so many readings if you learn how to read yourself. If you get your Ori ceremony, if you have your Igbe initiations, like if you go through these processes and you learn how to read and divine for yourself, this is self-liberation, not only in the culture of Ifa, but just in the culture of the universe. This is self-care ceremonic properties before you come into full initiation, which is Idifa and Ifa. Okay? So we must keep these self-care ceremonies in mind. That is just a key principle. Okay, like I always want to let individuals know just about. They always ask, "Where's the magic? Where's the juju? Where's the the properties of Ifa lie?" Right? And I always tell individuals that just in basic conversation, I will always tell them that it is plants, right? It is these frequencies that we use from these items, from these materials that's older than most things that we find in the world. Okay, dirt is very ancient. Specific leaves like jute, specific leaves like spinach is very ancient. You have different things like ruku, right? Is different, very ancient. Iru is very ancient. Ami is very ancient. Obi very ancient. So like we have to understand that these ancient items, these ancient materials that come from the natural earth, the natural universe that we live on, all of these is natural organic items that the world creates, that this earth creates, has been here for thousands of years. We find and understand the frequency to them. So I always would break this conversation down to them. But also we must understand that this power relies in us. Okay, we're going to do a course, and I know I've been lacking behind, so bear with me, but we're going to do a course about the Odus pretty soon. That's not part of the Odu study group. So just bear with me as far as how to obtain the power within the body, not any outer source, but within the body. So I wanted to bring this up based on those self-care ceremonies because this is where it lies, right? So I was talking to my goddaughter about this. Is why I wanted to make it the off the fly, off the road curriculum for today. But when you come into IDFI around this time in your journey, and this is just a hypothesis or a pre-calculation for most of you, but about the time you come into IDFI, you're going to be a witness to the oracle and the prophecy of Ifa, Asheshe, or Orumala, and Oludumare, so much to the point to where you're going to be more faithful than you are today looking at Ifa, looking at this culture, looking at this practice, and you're going to be like the rest of us who have dived all the way in, and you're going to want to preserve it. You're going to want to keep it. You're going to want to at least, you believe in it so much. Like I say, you witness the oracle at this point in time, so you're going to want to be able to give it to someone else so it can help their life. Even if it's sending, someone to your baba, even if it's creating YouTube videos, even if it's becoming a complete high priestess, with your own temple and godchildren, different things like that. Once you or Babalao, once you get to that level, it's pretty much like a responsibility and a duty, not only based on the culture of Ifa and the traditions of Ifa, but on a spiritual calculated level, knowing that now you are elected, now you are conscious enough to be able to help others, even if it's on a minimum scale. So I always like to let people know about these self-care ceremonies beforehand because you want time to be, educated the right way for one, but enough time to have a system or a practice for yourself. And this is a high principle of why I wanted to speak about the self-care ceremonies, because do you know your practice? Do you know your abilities? Do you know your power? And this is why a lot of individuals look for outside sources. They look for the cauldrons, they look for the bees, they look for the pots, they look for the right, they even the herbs that like they look for the outside sources, right? This is why you get people drunk on so-called witchcraft or whatever you want to say. It's because they look for the outside sources other than looking in. So you have to take time, and even when it comes to what real divination is, trust me, this is a very complex system, and we need time to walk through. Specifically, like Isifa, even if we're going to understand how to read for ourselves. Okay, so we must keep this in mind. When we start asking questions about what's the first steps to come into Ifa, what should I be doing as a new or pre-initiate of Ifa, etc. Right? Like you need to be worrying about self, and this is not selfish. Once again, it's self-care. We must learn how to fill up our pitcher before we start pouring cups. We must worry about our closet before we start giving away shirts. And this is just something that we must keep in mind, that we must build our banks up so our river does not overflow. Okay? We must think that resources, finances, energy, spiritual juju or whatever you want to call it, is in abundance now, but we must be futuristic beings and look in the future, live and enjoy the present moment, but prepare for the future. Okay, so we must keep our battery charged. We must keep our bank loaded. So this is the importance of taking those first steps before you dive deeply in, before you come into a temple and start gaining responsibility and just trying to help other individuals and different things like that, which is always looked upon, it's always appreciated. But just make sure you're taking time for yourself. So this is something that's very, very big when we start speaking about the first steps, Ashay. And I kind of hope I educated a little bit on Egbe. Once again, we will release more information on Egbe down the road, and we will speak about the different areas of the or different topics of the Odu, so we understand different areas of the body. Okay, so faith that you have retained something in your notes. Abaru, Oboye, Obosheshe, Ashe Abakun. Everybody stay healthy.